All right, so first I wanted to start out with a quick definition I found off the APA.org website for trauma, which is the American Psychological Association website. They have a lot of good information and resources regarding the topic, which I'm going to go over, including the adverse childhood experiences scoring and a little bit about what that is and how it works, how it applies, and then go over a couple studies, just with kind of a basic understanding of trauma, ACEs, and how that affects children and adolescents. So trauma is an emotional response to a terrible event, like an incident. That could be a natural disaster, an accident, a rape, or a sexual assault. Immediately after the event, shock and denial are typical. Long-term reactions include predictable emotions, flashbacks, strained relationships, and even physical symptoms like headaches and nausea. So what is ACE? ACE is an adverse childhood experience. ACE, it can negatively influence development of a child or adolescence. However, the lifelong effects of positive childhood experiences, which would be a PACE, those can also mitigate detrimental effects of the adverse ones. So that's kind of the opposite side of that. So if you can just picture like a large group of friends having a picnic and it's springtime, they're sitting beside the river and that river flows through their town, and suddenly they hear a cry from the river and see a child being swept downstream. One of them kicks off their shoes, jumps in, and brings the child to the riverbank, right? Super admirable. I think what a lot of people would probably do if they saw a drowning child, but where everyone else kind of gathers around, make sure that the child's okay, make sure that person's okay. And then while taking care of her, they hear another child in the river and another and another. And so everyone is rescuing children from the river and helps those pulled to shore recover from nearly drowning. And then they notice that one of the friends has left them from saving the children to go upstream. And they call to her saying, "Where are you going? We need you." To which she replies, "I'm going to find the hole in the bridge." So when we look at adverse childhood experiences in the study, one of the studies that I chose, you can see the links from childhood adversity with later risky health behaviors, right? So the metaphor is the adolescents coming in the river, but like what hole did they go through in the first place? That makes sense. And these links to risky health behaviors, chronic illnesses, poor development outcomes are all between the early adversity, neurobiological adaptations to stress. And within this study, they feel like they found the hole in the bridge. So this is definitely not to argue against things like pulling the children out of the river, but we actually can and should do all that we can to keep them from being swept out to sea, and help them recover, safely ashore. But however, after looking at these studies, There are ways of finding and repairing the bridge itself that sent them down in the first place. So during the last couple decades, multiple studies with thousands of people from diverse populations have established a strong and consistent connection between adverse childhood experiences and later other chronic conditions. Many health professionals recognize this connection, but it's now reaching a wider audience. So adversity can literally get under the skin. It changes our cells, our brain, our DNA. The human body is programmed to respond to danger in ways that promote survival, enabling us to run from the bear, to freeze if we need to be still and hide from something, to flee, right? This is adaptive of our ancestors who encountered tigers and bears. So this is where post-traumatic stress comes from. And these responses in the face of modern day stress are leading to heart disease and cancer and obesity and substance use and mental health issues and relationship problems because we don't know how to regulate our systems. And because of these traumatic experiences, these systems are just going haywire. So just as the effects of the ACEs influence development, so do nurture experiences. The lifelong effects of positive childhood experiences can mitigate the detrimental effects, like I said earlier. And developmental psychologists have identified the most important protective and compensatory experiences. I don't know why I can't say that word right now. It's so weird. So the PACEs are experiences of nurturing unconditional love from a parent or other adult, having family routines, sitting down and eating at the dinner table together, and generally developing talents and skills through hobbies, sports, and volunteering in the community. So those are all things that can compensate for ACEs, the PACEs. So the first study found that previously identified links between childhood trauma and problems later in life include high-risk behavior, functional impairment during adolescence, and finding underscore the need for trauma-informed public health approach to systematic screening, prevention, and early intervention for traumatized bereaved youth in child service systems. Another study found that the rate of exposure to childhood trauma and other extreme adversities are high, and reported that 68% of a nationally representative sample of 1,420 youth reported experiencing a traumatic event that met the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, an event that involves actual or threatened death or serious injury or a threat to the physical integrity of self or others before the age of 16. So my question for you guys is just to, out of my own curiosity, that I know I have personally taken an ACE score in another, or received my own ACE score in another class, and now that we've kind of covered the basic definitions that I was able to uncover, like, have you done the ACE study yourself? And if you have done the study and are aware of your score, how do you feel it affects your daily life as a student, if it has any effect? And I look forward to seeing your guys' videos and comments on this one. Thank you for watching.